Hi everybody, Brian from Steeda. Excited to bring to you our S550 Mach 1. And this particular car is Dario Orlando's car, and it is his personal car. So we want to give a little bit of a review about what it is that he liked about the car initially, and well, maybe how to enhance it, because well, we are Steeda and we do want to make the car go quicker, but we really want to have that proper balance of enhancing it and making the better car. So with that said, let's find out a little bit more about why it is that Dario chose the Mach 1. Dario, welcome and tell us about this Mach 1.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Well, I love the Mach 1 name, number one, and number two, you know, it's going to be one of the last S550s to market. And what I wanted to do was make this car a driver's car. And so I just appointed it with our dual rate handling springs, front and rear bars to get started. And what it did, it lowered it approximately a ½ inch. And we put a little bit more roll control into it without affecting the ride quality. So basically, making a driver's car out of it. The way this car is set up, you become part of the car, which is amazing. I've never driven a car where the driver is actually part of the car. And that's what we did by just appointing our dual rate springs, which is, you know, our #1 seller for the on-track guys, and appointing the front and rear stay bars. This is just the beginning. Then what I did is, you know, I want to make a knockout feature of the vehicle. So I added our 2-piece brake rotors, front and rear, which is a substantial weight savings. But the drivability of the vehicle, and plus, who would ever think that I'd be driving an automatic? So I equipped it with an automatic because the 10-speed, hey, whether we like it or not, is quicker on the road course and at the drag strip, as demonstrated with the Silver Bullet. And so anyway, we're going to take you through this journey. We're going to start working on some other appointments, but that's to be continued.
Right, and thank you so much for saying, as far as and reminding the audience that it is likely the last iteration of the S550. This is kind of the car that is, going out on top, if you will. And there's a lot of speculation between the Mach 1 and the GT350. And what's really cool about the GT350 is how raw and visceral it was. What's really cool about the Mach 1 is how streetable, yet how visceral it is, how the feel is. And I know that that's one of the things that you really wanted to make certain with the Steeda parts we put on, that you retain that.
Our relationship with Ford, you know, in the beginning, and now we don't want to ruin the car. We want to take it to the next level for the niche market and not ruin the ride quality. And that's what we're doing with the Mach 1. The ride quality is phenomenal. In touring mode, it's a pleasure to drive. It rides so well, you can't sleep at night. You want to jump into the car the following day, take it to work, go wherever you want to go, take it to car shows, show it off to your friends or whatever. But you know, the value in the Mustang is just out of the park. I mean, where can you get a car that has all these attributes for the money? It can't be done. And Ford just, again, has done a marvelous job with this vehicle, and I'm excited to take it to the next step from here.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And what's important to note is that we always want to enhance a vehicle, as stated, that we want to make it so that it's better utilized for how the driver and the owner is ultimately going to use it. And you chose the dual rate springs because we have a ton of experience. You've seen a lot of footage of our red Q500 HPDE car, and that had our dual rate springs on it for a long time before we started doing time trials. And it's a phenomenal setup. We really wanted to see how it paired with the MagneRide setup. And just to give people a little bit more background on the dual rate spring, it is a true dual rate spring. You start out at a softer rate, and as the suspension compresses a little bit, it goes into the firmer rate. So around town, you're in the softer rate, and around corners and twisties and so on, you get into the stiffer rate. But what's really cool about this aspect of it from an engineering standpoint is under hard braking, this means that the rear of the car is still in the softer rate. It's not pushing up as much. Under cornering, the inside corner is not lifting up as much because you're in the lighter spring rate. It's really brilliant to be able to utilize something that's so streetable and yet so fast around a racetrack. I won't go into too much more because we actually have a video on these springs. Definitely check it out. But I totally understand why you put them on this car.
Right, and then it keeps the rear wheels planted, and it keeps the car more planted because of the Newton factor. And what's really amazing is the chief coil spring engineer at Hyperco worked with our engineers to develop the dual rate spring. And he has over 30 years experience in coil spring technology. And it was like, well, we weren't really sure about it until we installed them and worked. It was over a year in development. And it's been a home run for us. And all the GT350 guys, the R guys and all that, they're popping them in, and their lap times are improving as much as almost 2 seconds per lap. So we're very pleased with the spring. And again, it works very well with MagneRide.
And that's really important to note, as well as the compatibility with MagneRide. One of the important things is that it doesn't require a recalibration to run these springs.
Right.
Obviously, you want to do an alignment afterward because you are changing the ride height of the car, but ultimately you're an enthusiast, so you're going to do an alignment and set it to where you really want it to be anyway. Another really important enhancement that was made to the car are the Steeda adjustable sway bars. And Dario, can you tell us a little bit more about why you chose those adjustable sway bars?
Because of the three-way adjustability of the front and rear stay bars. And the reason being is that some track conditions or different tires or different climates, temperatures, etc. Some tracks the car will be pushing a bit or understeering a bit. Understeer and pushing is the same thing, by the way, but oversteer and understeer, okay? This way we have the ability to tune it. So for example, if the car is pushing, we can add more rear bar or take out more front bar. So it gives you, once you understand the adjustability of the stay bars, it gives you an opportunity to tune the car to your driving style. Because each driver has a different driving style. To some people, it may be oversteering, and others it may be understeering. So this way you can tune the car to your liking. That's why we chose the adjustable front and rear stay bar, and also because it provides more roll stiffness than the stock bars, and it's tuned to work with our dual rate springs.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that the car originally tuned from Ford, and they did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
And this is a handling package car.
Right.
They did a phenomenal job in enhancing the handling, but it still had a little tendency to push for your desire. I mean, you're a race car driver. You're out there doing it all the time.
That's a design characteristic Ford puts into the vehicle for safety reasons. Yep. And plus they have to report to the masses, and we're reporting to the niche group, you understand? That, hey, wants to take the car, make it a little better in roll, a little bit firmer, but don't, make the car too rough where it's not, good, fun to drive. Where we didn't do that. We made it even more fun to drive. And, so this is why we appoint it with the front and rear tunable stay bars and our dual rate springs.
Perfect. And that's really important to note that when we're talking about stay bars, stabilizer bars, sway bars, anti-roll bars, exactly that. It's a great way to really set the balance of the car front to rear and really offset and, again, build on what we're doing with those dual rate springs as far as the handling aspects of the car without having any downsides to it. Because driving on the highway, the sway bars don't really come into play until you're really hammering through some corners.
Exactly.
So it's, again, a brilliant setup as far as the way that you're enhancing the car suitable to the way you're using it. Another area that we chose to address was rotating mass, and specifically the brakes and wheels. But let's start with the brakes, Dario. You chose the Steeda two-piece brake rotors.
Right.
Give us a little more feedback as to why you made that decision to go to these.
Well, because it's less rotating mass, and also it decreases the unsprung weight substantially. As we know, weight is the enemy of performance. Furthermore, it has better venting and cooling characteristics than the cast iron rotor that comes equipped with the vehicle, and it's lighter and it will dissipate the heat quicker, therefore prolonging pad life along with delaying under hard circumstances, brake pad fade. So that's why we chose the two-piece rotors, especially, in competition use. Mm-hmm. Plus, they've been race proven for the last 3 years on the Steeda 20 car. So it's a great upgrade for the vehicle. Plus, they look great when you look at the car. So it gives the vehicle its uniqueness. It separates itself from the other Mach 1s out on the road as well.
Oh, no question. And what's important for everybody to note as well is there's no real downside to street use as far as the two-piece rotors are concerned. There's no additional noise or vibration that you get out of them. They work perfectly with the Performance Pack front brake pads.
Absolutely. Therefore, and eliminating, brake fade on the street. Once you run competition pads, it basically eliminates brake fade, on the track.
Building on the lightweight attributes and cutting down that rotating mass beyond the brake rotors is getting into these beautiful MRR wheels. And people have seen already that we run these on the Red 2018. Tell us a little bit more about the MRR wheels that we've spec'd on the Mach 1.
Well, they're a flow-formed wheel, and they're very lightweight, and we wanted to outfit this Mach 1 with 20-inch wheels with the 305 G2s all the way around. And the reason being is again, like I had mentioned earlier, is the ride quality with this wheel and tire combination is phenomenal. And this way I can make a daily driver out of it instead of being on the track wheel, 19-inch wheels and tires, which I want to save for the track, and use the 20-inch for the street. And it's just, for all the Mach 1 owners, it's great. We've tested it, great ride quality, no NVH, and it's just a phenomenal setup to turn your Mach 1 handling pack vehicle into an everyday driver.
Well, and something that always plays into it as far as what we run into in Florida and the weather that we have is a tropical rainstorm at any given point. We can go to Cars and Coffee if we want first thing in the morning, and before you know it, you're on the way home and you get a torrential downpour.
Right.
It's so important to have good tires on the car, but yet be able to put a track application on the car and utilize the track package, the handling package, for exactly what it is.
Right.
And we talked about all these handling enhancements and the lightweight pieces that we've done to build on and enhance what Ford had done already with the car. I mean, just tremendous as far as what has gone into it. And this thing, I mean, when we're out in this car and driving it, it is so nice. It is such a pleasure to drive. And it was when it was stock. As an enthusiast, as a race car driver, you want more. And
Exactly.
that's it. You are building already the foundation for more great things to come.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Dario. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. And thank you, those of you watching this video, because it's not very often that we get to stand up and spend some time with Dario and really capture some of that enthusiasm. The fact that he's third generation Ford and that his grandfather and father spent quite a bit of time at Ford Motor Company, and Dario himself did some testing for Ford. Ultimately, it was this passion and expertise that led Dario to begin Steeda. And that enthusiasm still continues today, as hopefully we've been able to capture. And don't worry, there will be more. We're going to discuss future modifications as we do them to his Mach 1. But it's important to note that he really wanted to enhance the vehicle and make it his. And what's also important to this is what a character and what an enthusiast. This guy is truly a car guy, truly a Mustang guy. And he wants to share his passion for the car with all of us and his expertise in developing and engineering pieces for the car with all of us. Thank you again so much for watching Steeda. Speed matters.